in there? Does it look like her?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks. So we'll look at her head first. She does have a few scabs, but that's probably just random.
It kind of seemed like it was kind of drying out.
Mm-hmm. Look at her mouth and make sure there's nothing in there weird. And I just kind of go in that order. Even though this has nothing to do with what we're looking for, we can maybe sometimes find other things. That looks pretty clean and normal in there.
Do they have top roof of the mouth teeth?
No, they're papillae. They're just little.
Oh, really interesting.
It is.
Yeah. Some birds have longer ones, and then this is called a choanal slit. It goes right up into the sinuses.
Wow.
And that's if we were going to swab for avian influenza or some other respiratory disease. Sometimes we'll put the swab right up in that slit, the choanal slit. And they've got these, they've got these long, pointy, weird tongues.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
And her windpipe is just right. Let's see if I can find it for you.
Oh,
It's just right back in the back here. There's nothing to cover it.
Wow.
It's got- can't quite. There. Can you see that little slit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Yes.
That's her tracheal
Oh,
opening.
looks like. Well, I won't say.
Yeah.
That's
It does.
GYN
I was
day.
gonna say
Never
we're
mind.
doing OBGYN.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
It's pretty interesting.
Okay, so what I'm going to do next is cut down her. Let's turn her this way a little bit. Look at her esophagus and throat. So start at the corner of the mouth here.
So you bathed her. Is this the Dawn solution you were telling me about?
Yep, it's just cold water with Dawn dishwashing liquid.
Just a cooler, huh?
Yeah, and it also helps get the feathers out of the way so that they're not getting in your way when you're cutting them open. Otherwise, you'd have all this fluff all over the place.
Yeah.
And you can see she has normal patterns of non-feathers and then the strips with feathers, and that's normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is a jugular vein.
Oh, they got good veins.
Is that camera still showing right here what we're looking at? Okay.
Looks pretty good.
Okay. So yeah, jugular vein right there.
Good size for a small animal.
Yeah,
huh?
I was gonna say they've got really good veins.
The crop in the esophagus will run down to the right side of the body, so her crop is going to be right over here, and esophagus kind of comes down and runs over here to the crop, which is an area that holds its food storage, sort of like chipmunk cheeks.
Snacks for later.
This is her windpipe, her trachea right here. This is the esophagus. Coming up on the crop.
How big is the crop?
It depends on how much they've been eating.
Oh,
It can get
okay.
really big. Hers isn't very big, but she hasn't really been eating, but it's right here.
Oh,
And this is the thoracic inlet, this V, or this triangle right here.
Okay.
So that's where everything opens up and goes into the body cavity.
And that's always to the right then
The crop-
of where the midline breastbone is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
to the right. I must have hit the vessel right there. Okay, I'm gonna go down her esophagus and into the crop. Scissors aren't the sharpest. Okay, so this is the inside of her esophagus. I'm just gonna check out what the crop is looking like in there. And it's pretty empty. They can get worms that live in the crop.
Oh God, I hope that's not worms.
No, I don't see anything obvious that would look like it. It looks sort of like a yeast infection.
Does
If
it?
it has that, or it could be a yeast infection.
Yeah, I read that. The vleet?
Yeah.
Is
Did
that
you
what
want
they
deep
call
worms
it?
or-
Well, the vent bleat, that's just basically not really a thing. That's like everybody calls, diarrhea, and it gets stuck on their back end, and everybody
Yeah,
says,
but they
"Oh,
tell
got
them
neck."
online, they say, use Monosat.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it's. I
okay.
mean, no, it's not. That's not usually what the problem is.
Yeah, sometimes it's.
So here's her tracheal opening. So the larynx.
Mm-hmm.
And tracheas are hollow.
Yeah, see,
Are they tough?
they're cartilaginous, so it's
Oh,
gonna.
okay.
She's got a little bit of. It's okay. A little bit of mucus in there. So that was probably from her increased respirations because she's having trouble breathing. If you had something like avian influenza or infectious laryngotracheitis, which is pretty common, this would be kind of red and irritated looking down through here, and I don't really see
It's
that.
pretty good. Looks pretty pink.
Yeah. So far, so good. Okay, now the keel tells me that when she was growing, she didn't have the proper nutrition. 'Cause
Really?
It shouldn't be twisted like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna open up this belly, and it's gonna be pretty dramatic.
Is it gonna shoot out?
It probably
Well,
will.
hopefully not. Do we need a shield?
So like
I don't think so. So where I'll normally open is just right back here at the end of the breastbone or the keel.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm just gonna make a cut right there. And I'm just cutting through the skin right now. Yeah, I haven't cut into that belly yet, into the coelomic cavity. We call this the coelom rather than the abdomen because they don't have a diaphragm.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Is your purse still in there and stuff?
No, I didn't go first.
Okay. So coelomic cavity instead of abdomen because she has no diaphragm to separate this part of her body from her chest.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a coelom.
So if somebody was going to try and aspirate and drain her ascites, are you allowed to tell me where?
Yeah, so you just
a
want to go.
person-
You just want to go to the ventralmost portion. So when
Okay.
she's standing up, then
Got
you'll
it.
find the lowest portion and kind of poke. And you
Okay.
might have to do this side and then come over and do this side because they do
Okay.
have the air sac system in there and they have separations.
Do they?
So,
Okay.
but yes, this is very, very abnormal. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut into that coelomic cavity, and it's going to have a lot of fluid. It shouldn't spray you or anything. But it's going to come out. We got some. That looks like some pus actually. Some little
Really?
chunks of purulence there. Chicken pus is hard. It's not. Oh yeah, that's. Can you get me a culture swab? We might want to get a sample of this. They're in the lab in one of the drawers. If we just had neoplasia, I wouldn't usually see those
You wouldn't,
chunks of
okay.
pus like that.
So if it was salpingitis type
Maybe.
originated
Yeah, so-
infection, would it?
It's like this? Okay.
So this roughness on the intestinal tract is not normal, but that can be just from the peritoneal fluid that's built up there.
Uh-huh.
But it can also be cancer. So let's see what we got there.
Why is it kind of green in color?
From blood breaking down,
Oh.
so like bruising sort of idea. I'm just gonna take this and
Oh.
see if I can maybe get a little sample in case you want to send this out and see if it is something.
Are these lungs?
Here, don't touch it yet. That's liver.
Oh.
I'm just gonna try and get a sterile sample from this before we get too much further. Just in case.
That almost looks slightly affixed.
It is, yeah.
Hmm. but it looks very similar to the infectious type
Yeah, so
chunks, I guess. I should
yes,
say,
yes, this
that
is.
were floating
this
around.
is pus. This is,
Uh-huh.
or it could be chunks of yolk. We'll see. Maybe she has a ruptured oviduct, but we have this. Yeah, so that's. This is bird pus. Gets caseated and thick. They don't have the same chemicals in their neutrophil. Though they don't have neutrophils. They have heterophils. They don't have the same chemicals that break down the pus to make it liquid.
Is that the heart? But
Nope, that's more. It's like a blood clot or something with. I wouldn't. I think she might have had an egg peritonitis actually. So she probably internally laid an ova and it caused an infection. It has a similar appearance to adenocarcinoma, but I don't think that's what we have here. So here's liver. I just kind of cut into that lung. That lung looks pretty nice actually. But all of this is thickened. So all of this fluid and inflammation has caused all of these peritoneal tissues to thicken. It shouldn't be like that. It should be more like a cellophane.
right.
So you can kind of see through it. This is intestines. See if we can get them out of the way. This is her. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just trying to catch every view I can. It's
Okay.
just fascinating to me.
This is a little different. She's got some weird follicle-y looking things here. I'm not sure what that is.
Interesting.
This is, I'm wondering if maybe she ruptured her oviduct right there. So this whole thing right here that I'm holding, this is oviduct. And this is her ovary. They only have one ovary, the left. And all of those follicles are regressed. So those turn into yolks.
You don't have to head out. All right, cool. I think everything's pretty much
But
done.
she has not been laying.
No.
She's definitely not been laying.
Shouldn't be too much after
And
that.
then this is all just,
There's kennels in the back.
this is all just inflammation, irritation because of the fluid and infection that's in there.
It's yours?
This is very odd looking right here.
We did start yesterday.
Well,
And
happy anniversary.
I think she had a ruptured oviduct. I don't think we need to send anything out. Let's see if I can find her opening to that.
Oh, yeah.
The other one belongs to Fred. Which means Leslie took the.
Yeah. I have a weird question. What's your question?
Oh, we're done. Can I touch the ovary?
You can touch anything now.
Wow, they're like,
You can touch things too if you want. There's gloves over here.
these feel really,
Sure.
they like feel like sea grapes or champagne grapes. I probably shouldn't make a reference to food, but
What are champagne grapes?
they're like these tiny little baby red grapes. They're really cute. They're the cutest things you've ever seen. They pretty much are that size.
Interesting.
So what I'm gonna try and do is find her oviduct opening and get my finger in there and see if things are actually even patent. Get the poop out of the way. Well,
So maybe it's scarred off. Are those adhesions?
I think it is, yeah. So,
Yeah.
'cause I can't quite get in there.
And I
Interesting.
think,
I just sort of want to feel these.
oh yeah, you can feel
The
anything.
champagne grapes.
Okay, but
Just kind of how they
it's
look.
a medical
just-
term.
Yeah,
That's closer to 5, right?
yeah, she's got,
Friday at 5.
it's just, yeah, this oviduct is torn. She had ruptured oviduct.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's, so this,
And
this
then
could
that
be,
just creates infection.
mhm. Inflammation. So this could be egg yolk that's been all inspissated,
Mhm.
with some pus, but, yeah, this is her intestinal tract up here.
Oops.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't need it. I
You don't think, I don't think you want it.
I would say we don't need to do that culture either.
Okay. So there's almost a green cast to some of these undeveloped follicles.
Yeah, that's because they're degenerating. So they probably
See.
were bigger, and then that's just, like when.
Were they?
Yeah, when you.
So they're
have a-
normally how big?
So when they can be this big depending on the stage of development,
Uh-huh.
but they'll get regular yolk size. So the
Okay.
size that you see in an egg, in
Okay.
a chicken egg, yeah. they'll
Interesting.
Get, and you'll have a series, so they'll develop in series. So they'll just one set might start growing, and then they just kind of mature and come off, and then they just keep developing in a series like that.
Yeah.
If they're overweight, then you might get 2 series of them coming up, and that's when you start to get the double yolked eggs.
Uh-huh.
But you also start to get more reproductive problems because things start to get stuck in there.
I think
But-
we've had 1 in 3 years. I don't think that's
So
not
double
good.
yolks aren't a good thing?
They're not a good thing, no, not for the chickens.
Oh.
Here's her heart right up here.
Right there.
It's a little
Okay.
flabby. That's because she was so full of fluid. It was.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
Man.
So there's the heart. And the lungs actually sit encased in the rib cage here.
Oh, they're little.
Her lungs look good in pink. They're a little foamy right now, but that's just because of the.
Congestion.
If she had pneumonia, those would be like all consolidated or dark.
Mm-hmm.
But that looks actually pretty healthy. Having trouble getting that one out, but they sit up in the rib cage. They don't free flow like mammal lungs.
Interesting.
Oops. There we go again.